Hello and welcome to our 2025 Spring Book Buzz. I'm Amanda from Denver Public Library's Central Library, and I'm here with my colleague Dodie to bring you 30 new and upcoming books that caught our attention this spring. You can find all of these titles in the library's catalog, many of which are already available on our shelves. And now, Dodie will start us off with some of our favorite new titles in literary fiction.
The Float Test is Lynn Steger-Strong's fourth novel and falls firmly in the dramedy category. The four Kenner siblings are forced to reunite to settle the matriarch's estate in Florida, its hot, muggy atmosphere always present. The question at hand, why was there a gun in their mother's underwear drawer? Aaron John Curtis is a new Indigenous voice, and in Old School Indian, readers meet 43-year-old Abe Jacobs, who is dying. He takes the one path he thought he'd never turn down, a healing at the hands of his great-uncle Budge Billingson, who still lives on the Akwesasne Reservation where Abe was raised. It's the 1970s on the Upper West Side, and the Katsikasis, a Greek cheesemaking family who immigrated to open a restaurant in New York, add Cato the Elder's cheesecake recipe from 234 BCE on their menu as a ploy to attract upscale diners. It works, and doesn't. Soon the blocks around Katz Brothers are being gentrified, and there are copycat recipes everywhere. Cheesecake author Mark Kolansky is a keen observer of the culinary scene, and it shows.
In A Climate of Truth, sustainability and carbon footprint expert Mike Berners-Lee tackles the root causes of our current climate crisis. He argues for higher standards and honesty from politicians and corporations, while also providing practical tips for how the everyday person can help mitigate climate change. In a similar vein, Robert McFarlane also addresses issues related to climate change, this time focusing on rivers and streams. Is a River Alive takes readers on a journey through Ecuador, India, and Canada, exploring humanity's connection to the bringer of life, water. Throughout the book, McFarlane addresses the question, is a river alive? And if so, what legal rights should it have in our society? For fans of pop science, neurologist Priya Anand's The Mind Electric unravels the mysteries of our most complex organ, the brain. From a woman who claims to tell prophecies from the Holy Spirit to a mother who believes her children have been replaced by changelings, Anand shares real case studies of the brain's fascinating and terrifying powers. In Fascist Yoga, legendary counterculturalist Stuart Home exposes the seedy underbelly of one of wellness's most prolific practices, yoga. While largely used for meditation or exercise today, yoga also has a history among cultists, conspiracy theorists, and white supremacists. Find out more in Fascist Yoga this July.
Historical fiction is always popular, and these four titles are all completely different. Known as the greatest Western writers of the 21st century, the Johnstones, William and nephew J.A., have written over 500 books and are kicking off a new series with Dead Broke, Colorado. The town goes riches to rags when the value of silver, its only commodity, takes a dive, and Dead Broke turns into a lawless hotbed of angry, out-of-work miners and out-for-blood merchants for fans of classic, action-packed shoot-'em-up westerns. Sarah Penner weaves a rousing story of witches, deep-sea diving, and family secrets on the Italian coast in the Amalfi Curse. Haven Ambrose, an archaeologist, has come to the village of Positano to investigate the mysterious shipwrecks along the coast and is secretly on a quest to locate a trove of priceless gemstones her late father spotted on his final dive. But strange maelstroms and misfortunes start plaguing the town. Is it nature or something more sinister at work? In Dual Timelines, Milo Todd thoughtfully portrays the plight of queer and transgender people in Germany before and after World War II in The Lilac People. This is a moving and deeply humane story about a trans man who must relinquish the freedoms of pre-war Berlin to survive first the Nazis, then the Allies, while protecting the ones he loves, set against events such as the rise of the original trans and queer fascism movement, the first documented queer and trans book ban, and other atrocities. The Devil Three Times by Ricky Fain is a 175-year family saga in which the devil plays a leading role. Yotunda, originally enslaved at the Laurent plantation in Tennessee, and her trademark yellow dress weave through the story as a spectral reminder of enslavement, as the devil offers each generation his own version of salvation, all the while pondering, can he save himself too?
17-year-old Kyo Lee makes her publishing debut with her poetry collection, I Cut My Tongue on a Broken Country. As a young, queer, Korean-Canadian woman, Lee explores learning to love herself and the many intersectionalities of her identity. Part memoir and part history, Craig Thompson's graphic novel, Ginseng Roots, interweaves Craig and his siblings' childhoods with the 300-year history of global ginseng trade. From their childhood working on a rural ginseng farm in Wisconsin to Northeast China, Ginseng Roots charts both the rise of industrial agriculture as well as a family's search for belonging. Celebrate Pride Month with Tourmaline's new biography on Marsha P. Johnson. Written by a Black trans luminary herself, Marsha brings one of the most important figures in LGBTQ history to life through both her activism and her artistry. Best-selling author Melissa Fabos strikes gold again with her latest memoir, The Dry Season, a memoir of pleasure in a year without sex. After a tumultuous relationship, Fabos decides to try celibacy for a year, documenting her journey of solitude, self-discovery, feminism, and new pleasures along the way.
We ended up, quite accidentally, with 3 titles that take place in France. Here they are. Lush by Rochelle Dowden-Lord focuses on 4 wine experts who each receive a mysterious invitation to an exclusive weekend tasting at a famous French vineyard. It seems at first that they have little in common except for their love of wine, but as the quartet awaits the penultimate night of the trip, when they will each taste the only bottle of one of the rarest wines in the world, it becomes clear that each of them grapples with a private crisis. Colorado author Anne Claire takes readers on a wonderful cycling tour of the beautiful French countryside with, of course, delicious food and wine and a cyclist guide to villains and vines. The second in her cyclist guide mystery, this time guide Sadie Green is touring with a group of lovable but frustrating senior peddlers, the Silver Spinners, accompanied by a huge and affectionate dog and murder once again. We Cyclings is right in the middle of the mystery. Anne will be at DPL Central on July 24th as part of the Killer Plots Women of Mystery Fiction panel. The Alchemy of Flowers is Colorado author Laura Rousseau's debut adult novel and is set in the ancient walled Jardin du Paradis in the south of France, where Eloise works with other women to tend the plants and heal her own sadness. The flowers whisper to her, enchanting, delighting, and healing. But why are the workers forbidden from going out during dusk? And was that a child she saw in the garden?
Saratoga Schaefer's Serial Killer Support Group is a dark comedy thriller for fans of the morally ambiguous. When Syra Griffin's younger sister is murdered by a serial killer, she takes matters into her own hands, infiltrating a support group for serial killers in the hope she can bring her sister's killer to justice. Inspired by a real-life antiquities scandal in Pakistan, the museum detective drops readers into the world of modern archaeology. This gripping series debut introduces archaeologist Dr. Gul Delaney, whose investigation into the discovery of a mummy gets complicated and personal when it collides with her years-long search for a missing family member. Fans of Twin Peaks will find much to love in Matthew Sullivan's newest novel, Midnight in Soap Lake. Abigail, a Denver transplant, finds herself at the center of her small Washington town's strange mythic past, as she works to solve a murder with the help and possibly hindrance of her eccentric neighbors. Mary Anna Evans' The Dark Library is an enticing genre blender, combining psychological suspense with historical dark academia. Set in the 1940s during World War II, Estella Ecker has returned to Rockfall House after the death of her father. Determined to find out who her parents really were, Estella dives into her father's once-forbidden library of rare books on a quest for the truth.
Back to nonfiction, and we're putting together history, true crime, and social justice. The Central Park Five meets Killers of the Flower Moon in the Fairbanks Four by Brian Patrick O'Donoghue. This is the true, but until now untold story of four young Indigenous men in Fairbanks, Alaska, who were wrongly convicted of murdering a white teenager, and the journalists determined to rally the community and undo the damage done by a broken system. It also highlights the resilience of the Indigenous community and the community effort to right the wrong, emphasizing the importance of social and political activism in achieving justice. A combination of travel writing, memoir, and cookbook, The Last Sweet Bite by Michael Shake uncovers how humanity's appetite for violence shapes what's on our plate. Animated by touching personal interviews, original reporting, and extraordinary recipes from modern-day conflict zones across the globe, Shake reveals the stories of how genocide, occupation, and civil war can disappear treasured recipes, but also introduces us to the extraordinary yet overlooked home cooks and human rights activists trying to save them. Haley Cohen Gilliland is a new talent in narrative nonfiction, and in A Flower Traveled in My Blood, she delivers the epic true story of the Abuelas de Plaza de Mayo, grandmothers who fought to find their grandchildren who were stolen during Argentina's brutal dictatorship in the 1976 junta. The product of years of extensive archival research and meticulous original reporting, readers will learn about a regime that tried to terrorize a country, but love prevailed. In The Undiscovered Country, Paul Andrew Hutton shares the true story of westward expansion. Told through 7 gripping points of view, 4 famed American frontiersmen and 3 important Native Americans, Hutton tells the tale of the triumphs and tragedies that marked the westward movement, from Braddock's defeat in 1755 during the final French and Indian War to the murder of Sitting Bull and the resultant Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890.
If you're a fan of libraries, Octavia Butler, or Afrofuturism stories, check out Stacey Nathaniel Jackson's debut, The Ephemera Collector. Set in near-future Los Angeles, archivist Sandria Brown, suffering memory loss from long COVID, must navigate a sudden lockdown and rely on her adaptive AI technology to help her protect her life's work, the Dewata Collection, a vital archive of Black history and culture. Cozy meets horror in Tanya Huff's direct descendant. Cassidy Pruitt, town baker and part-time servant of an ancient evil, it's a family business, finds herself stuck between duty and her heart when a very cute private investigator starts poking around town. Creepy, cozy, fun, this sapphic story brings a touch of eldritch horror to modern-day Toronto. Little Shop of Horrors gets a queer Irish spin in Sarah Maria Griffin's Eat the Ones You Love. After a nasty breakup and losing her job, Shell Pine begins to find joy again, working in the flower shop at the very rundown Woodbine Crown Mall in Dublin. Little does she know, a young sentient orchid is actually running the show, and he's very hungry. Our final book is for fans of character-driven climate fiction. Awaken the Floating City by Susanna Kwan recounts the unexpected friendship between failing artist Bo and her elderly neighbor Mia, 2 of the last people living in a flooded San Francisco of the near future. Emotional and lyrical, this is a story about remembering both the people and the places that you love.
Thank you for your time today. For more suggestions, visit denverlibrary.org/recommendations. And for your own personalized reading list, hit us up at denverlibrary.org/reads. Have a great day. Thank you.